guys, welcome to our Season 2 review of Rings of Power. Was there a new episode this week? No, you're not dreaming this one. Yay! This is really just a video wrapping up because we actually did not give a score to Season 2. We gave individual scores to it. That was because we had to hurry up and see the other disaster, Joker 2. So we kind of needed to wrap it up.
It was 2 hours long anyway.
It was a 2 hour long video. So we wanted to kind of wrap things up here and talk about the epic disaster that was Rings of Power Season 2. And how essentially it has, in my opinion, some of the worst writing, dialogue, plot points, characterization. These are first-time showrunners with a lack of talent and lack of understanding, and really have turned Tolkien into mass market slop. We're doing fan service to shipping random stuff, and writers have come out and said, yes, no, that you're supposed. I wrote it so that you can ship, Sauron and Galadriel, and I wrote it this way. Oh, she's about to kill him.
This whole series has been a whole bunch of ship.
Right, it's like written for Tumblr, and it's like it's just honestly, I don't want to use. Go over the top, but it is bastardizing the books. It really is. And it's using it. This is a corporate motherfucking product. Yes. This is not somebody that was like, man, I grew up with this stuff. I love this stuff. I can't wait to bring this age to you guys. You guys have seen the third age, but you haven't seen the second age or the first age. And this is a passion project of mine. No, this is just, we got the license. We spent $500 million. We need somebody to do it. I have no fucking idea how these guys got in charge of it. Now, more than $725 million later, nearly $1 billion fucking dollars. It is beyond crazy, Joe. It's beyond crazy. And they put these people in charge.
How?
And clearly it was marketed towards, not really Lord of the Rings fans, but your, I don't know, normie mass market stuff. And that's fine if you can do it with an amount of respect, an amount of skill, and
which had
none of that. So that's my little piece on it. If you guys want to kind of reflect on Season 2, you can do it here as well. And then I was going to go into more bits and pieces that I noticed from the series to kind of prove that this is just bad storytelling. It's just a bad season. Go ahead.
Well, Season 2 just fucking fell apart for me. I fucking hated it. It was terrible. It just made me feel for the orcs. I was like, what are you doing? That was one of the biggest things. Like, orcs just want to be left alone. They want peace. They have babies and wives.
I have a home. Must we go to war again?
I was like, what are you doing? No, it's the Lord of the Rings. You see Aragorn and everyone else is butchering these husbands.
In the future, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
That's one of my big points here, Joe. That huge setup. They set that up so that we will understand his motivation. But when it happens, there's no understanding. You destroy the orc lore to try to set this turn up. And the turn was this bad terrible. And was this stupid and made zero sense. You're telling me that you don't want to follow Sauron, so you're following Adar, and Adar goes to war to prevent Sauron from enslaving you, but a few people are dying in battle, and he's not loving you enough, so you're gonna go serve Sauron? Yeah, that was my next point too.
Yeah, that was
the one person who you're fighting against,
and then get killed off immediately.
It's so stupid. It's like, what was the point in setting that up?
Yeah, that was my other point too. Glug's change was so fucking stupid. It's like, look, did you not get enough love from him or whatever? Glug. But at the end, like he just, I don't know what Sauron promised him. to trade. Again, on the Nori stuff and
The most Sauron did, Joe, is he used the soft orc name, the respectful orc name. He called him an Uruk. What's your name, Uruk? Oh, this guy wants to know my name.
Yeah.
You have
So it's all
beautiful
about
hair.
seduction.
Meanwhile, Galadriel's over there dropping the hard fucking O, right? And I'm like,
he-
Galadriel's like a racist.
Oh, that's because you were dropping her panties because she was doing that too.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, for Sauron.
Oh, yeah, she was.
She was in love with him.
Yeah, biggest takeaway was like the orcs fucking lore just got fucked up. Galadriel is fucked up. I honestly did not like her in season 1. They made her worse in season 2. The first season, I was like, oh, there's some cool sets. I see where they put the budget in this. This one, it seemed a lot tighter, and it looked like we could have just filmed it, us 3, for the war
Agree
scenes.
with you, Joe. I think the
So where
pacing
the
is
fuck
better
is-
in season 2. But that doesn't really mean much.
It doesn't. Like, it's tighter, but at the same time, you just, like, kind of cheaper, but they spend more money. Like, all this money is like, where's the money going? The Numenorians are a fucking joke. We already know that. There were some bright spots.
So
but
depressing. So depressing.
I honestly don't know what the fuck they were thinking with this show. In season 3, they kill off some of the greater characters. So I don't know what we're really going to do now, because I don't like...
Yeah, with what we're left.
Yeah, and
What they're
I
setting up
feel
for
like-
season 3 feels real bad.
I feel like episode through episode, they forgot some of their plots. It's like, hey, this guy got stabbed to death. Oh, he's fine and dandy.
In the
it's like, hey,
next
this one is doing this.
episode, yeah.
It's like, hey, another one's like, let's go to Celebrimbor.
Yeah.
We must
So
make
multiple
haste.
rumors here, Joe, is that the showrunners could not come in the writing room because of a writer strike, something there. And so they had less input into the writer's room until some of the later episodes. And then, but if they're involved in the later episodes, those are the 2 episodes that I had the most problem with. And a lot of the same problems were there. So I don't really buy that,
Yeah.
if that's an explanation.
Yeah, and again, like, they rushed through some of the cool parts whenever the elves were in the dark forest and stuff like that. And you just get some laughable moments.
Yeah.
With a horse saving someone in the Forbidden Forest and the Spider Cave thing. I was like, what the fuck are we doing?
There are so many
What
what,
the
the
fuck
fuck
are-
moments that punch you out of it.
Yes.
If you have any brain, if you're using any modicum of brain power, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and a lot of characters just waiting for their screen time. Theo and the people in the South and all
God.
this. So
Shit.
it was
crawls.
just too much with not enough substance.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It's. I don't think I was ever gonna like it because these guys wanted to do a modern take on Tolkien's lore, and it is a boring story. Like if you think about Tolkien's stories, they're good versus evil tales, and they're not exciting. They're not modern. They're classic. But they're people look at him as antiquated. They look at him at like a problematic because his World War I, because it's about I don't know if you if you look at the map of Middle Earth, it's the Battle of Somme, the one that he was in. So it's like there's not a lot of women in it, and so people are like, oh, we gotta modernize it. We have to bring it forward. We've got to do all these other things, and some of the modern things are softening bad guys to make it so that they're more relatable. There is no true evil except for when the guy is. There's one guy who is actual in-universe Satan and his number 1 lieutenant. Maybe that guy is evil. Maybe it's not appropriate to have him cry when he's killing a guy who he's been using as a puppet this entire time. And so it's these guys that just wanted to do a modern take, and they didn't have a plan from the get-go. They just did interviews in the last couple of weeks saying they didn't know who the stranger was going to be until season 2. In season 1, they hadn't decided. And this is official interviews that they did.
I want a fucking link. Fuck those assholes.
They did it with Nerd of the Rings, and they did a full interview with him, and they just didn't know. And so this is something that, in my opinion, it didn't need a modern take. We didn't need to bring it into the modern times. We didn't need to ship these characters, and all they've done. Tolkien has been something that you can read the story and go, wow, that is super interesting and in depth, because he started with the language systems and then built this entire world, and then built a religious system in there, and then built these civilizations. And you can and you should think about what you're reading, especially with now where we have all of the unfinished tales and all the letters that he wrote to people. There's a wonderful amount of stuff that you can go through, and you can think about what you're consuming. This is the opposite. You cannot think about what you're consuming here because everything just falls apart.
It does.
You watch this and go, wait a minute, how is the Second Age only going to be 50 years long? Wait a minute, how is every single problem in Middle Earth from the Second Age to the Third Age Galadriel's fault? You're telling, like, if you had told me 5 years ago that there was going to be a $500 million TV show where Galadriel falls in love with Sauron and that is how the Lord of the Rings starts, I wouldn't fucking believe you. And that is the problem with this show, is they wanted to do their own thing, and we've constantly been talking about whether it's George R. R. Martin saying it's like these people with no talent or ideas of their own, they want to take someone else's story, and then rather than faithfully bring it forward and do what they can, they want to put their own stamp on it. And this is for people who love fan fiction, and I don't mean people who are fans who want to write more stories. I mean the schlock fan fiction, that, you know, the common use of the phrase, where every character's in love with every other character and it doesn't have to make any sense, because most of the time it's kind of like erotica versus actual fantasy stories, and people are, you know, touching themselves. And so that's why there's so many things where they were talking about, it's like, hey, Sauron and Celebrimbor were, you know, and they're like, yeah, that's the whole sexy thing about deception. And it's like, no, I didn't want to write, I don't want the writers of the show talking about how there could be a will they, won't they between Celebrimbor and Sauron. I didn't need Galadriel to fall in love with them. I didn't need Durins to be alive at the same time, the dwarves to betray the elves for some stupid ass reason where we need a whole army here in case, just to stop one old man. Like, you can't think about the show for any period of time. I refuse to put.
How did they teleport?
Teleporting is, and then when they should be using horses.
To have left. They had to, whatever.
Yeah.
We don't know the real timelines between the dwarf storyline and the elf storyline because everything's so disconnected.
And so the other problem that they have with it is everything. I just remember as a kid being read to me as
we do know the story. We do know the timeline because Elrond visited them. Anyway,
we know like the days, and then he's like, look to the north where the sun is rising. It's like, that's not where the sun comes up, dork. But whatever.
What you just said?
It does.
You just said don't think about it.
Yeah, exactly. You can't think about it. But so like when I was a kid and it was being read to me, when I was a teen and I was reading it for myself, and then as an adult rereading it and then watching the movies, everything about Tolkien's work felt grand. It felt larger than life.
Yes.
It felt big and important, and it felt like no matter what decade I was appreciating, whether it be in the 40s when he first, or the 70s, in the 2024s, it would always be relevant. And this, what is not relevant, and it's small, and it feels insignificant, and it boils down to
seven soldiers running around.
Yeah, there's 7 elves in Eregion. There's a bunch of Numenorians. There's like 30 of them, and they switch. They're not the grandest army of all time that will show up on Sauron's door and by intimidation alone have the orcs flee in terror. They are slaves and they flee in terror. So everything about this has been a disservice, whether it comes down to the characterization, to the scope and the size, the costumes. They're doing damage. Like, unless you have the ability to dissociate the way that I do now, because like we're constantly washed with bad takes on our childhood stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And so like I've been able to go like, oh, I love the Transformers cartoon and the original Transformers movie, but I hate everything else save the most recent one, because you have to. Because if I thought about the Michael Bay Transformer movies when I was watching the original, I'd hate them. Yeah. And you have to
watch Transformers 1.
You have to be able to dissociate to sit there, because honestly, this is worse than the Hobbit trilogy, and that was a disservice.
Yes,
to
it is.
And so I don't know who this is for. If you love it, great.
Who it's for.
Yeah, I don't want to. I truly don't want to.
You know who it's for. Let it out.
It's not just dumb people. It is a lot of dumb people, but
It's mass audience. It's everyone. It's let's do a little bit of this for this person. Let's tease at this for this type of market. Let's tease at that. That's not how you fucking tell a story.
Yeah, I think that the alternative, and the other reason that I hate this so much, is what is written already for them is so much better than what they put forth. Even if they didn't have access to certain things, the things that they have shown, if they had just stuck to the way that it was originally written, I think would have been infinitely better. Yeah. But so it's a failure at almost every level.
At almost every fucking level.
Yeah. Some of the CG looked cool. Congrats, you did it.
Yeah. But you burned $725 million to do it.
Yeah. I mean, all I can say is congratulations to the people who are like getting paid off of that, because that's the only good as money went into the economy.
Yeah, the only good is that people were at work.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, set crafters and things like that, I guess we're at work. But boy, Amazon, I don't know if Amazon cares, know. All the romantic relationships in this, if they're like, we got to modernize things, we got to do this, we got to add this, like all of them suck ass. It's like it's shipping of characters instead of setting up legitimate, organic romances that make sense. Just what are all the romances in this?
Next season,
Poppy and Nobody.
Poppy and Nobody,
Can't
which
wait.
was so amazing and organic and just happens wonderfully. And then there's the fucking the Queen of Numenor with the cap
Elendil, yeah.
Elendil, and then
the traitor lady,
the fucking Esther or
Estrid.
whatever, Estrid with Isildur. These are so bad. I don't know how anybody
Arendir.
could. Bronwyn and Arendir. I don't know. That one had a little bit more development and time put towards it. Still bad, but better than some of these, I think. No, I didn't even really like that one either.
Well, there's also Isildur and his horse, Beric.
Yeah, that's the
he
best
loves
one.
He loves his horse.
The horse even gets a whole camera devoted. I'm gonna kill your horse, and the horse like.
Well, don't forget.
If not for Beric.
Kemen has a love interest with Elendil's daughter, who no one can remember the name of.
No one can remember her name. Yeah, it's real bad, guys. Oh, and the soldier that died had something, or she had something with him on Numenor. Nobody can remember his name.
and the lady.
Oh, the pebble.
What about the lady who got pushed off?
Oh yeah.
Huh?
I forgot her
Oh,
name.
yeah.
Your hair is amazing.
The shipping of those
Yeah.
to your hair.
Big
She
on.
gets to say,
Or Dario
Big
or
on,
something
bitch.
like that. Yeah.
And when she slammed into the ground and she started coughing up blood, that's what I felt like.
But Galadriel fell from there, and you fell from here.
Thank you for bringing that up, Joe. I'll never forgive the fact that I went back and rewatched it. Galadriel
Yes!
falls. Did you notice how
She hits a tree.
Here's the explanation, guys. She hit a tree.
Yeah.
That tree is 50 feet.
Would've been her
She
back.
could have hit every goddamn branch on the way down.
Oh, my back.
And no bones are broken. Her body is perfectly fine. It's as if she fell from 1 foot instead of 100 feet. It's real bad, and
Yes.
it's hilarious. It's turned into pure comedy. And this is not the intent. It's turned into pure amateur fan fiction. It's not even good fan fiction. It's amateur fan fiction. We've got Sauron trying to make Galadriel his queen. We have motherfucking, Elrond trying to kiss on Galadriel, filmed in a very specific way to encourage, a segment of the audience to go crazy with it. It's stupid. And it's really, really cringy. The only thing that I would not defend, but I can understand, is I actually like so it's going to be hard, but let's try to come up with some elements that were good from this season. I think really the only 2 parts, and they ruined both of them, Durin and Disa in like episode 1 and 2, and the dwarf storyline with his father. And that whole argument that they have, and it's like, you go apologize, do this. That was like good acting there. And then it falls apart. Mm-hmm. And by the end of the season, Disa is a crazy person, and Durin is an idiot, and it makes no sense. And so they fucked that up. The other one is Sauron and Celebrimbor.
Yes.
And I actually do like the moment where Sauron has such respect for Celebrimbor, and he is sad that he has to kill him because Celebrimbor is not revealing the location of the rings, and is finally standing up for himself, because I think Sauron needed Celebrimbor and respects his craft. And there's a little bit of that heartbreak that they could have played on, but it just wasn't done well enough to earn it.
Well, I think he's supposed to have spent, I think it's like 200 or 300 years in a Region with him.
Right.
And so when you only have him there for one real crazy week, it doesn't ring true, because you have compressed everything and have made everything that was grand and good into small and terrible.
Yeah. Have you seen Weekend at Bernie's? They got a lot done over the weekend.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
How about Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead? That's...
And,
the Balrog.
Balrog looked cool.
Yeah, Balrog
but
looked cool.
But then it was a letdown.
I like when the dwarf,
seconds.
the Balrog's like 60 feet away, and Durin jumps, and the Balrog, the only reason they connect is the Balrog swings. But if the Balrog doesn't swing, Durin just falls into the chasm and dies because he's so far away, and the dwarf and the dwarf is this big, and so it's just like, what is this? And then he just goes back to sleep, and he's just like, I'm tired now.
That's the biggest fuck. So, okay, I'm going to get into some. That was it?
Yeah.
That was our section of good stuff. Because we're going to go back into bad stuff.
Adar had some good moments. But
I think I like Adar 1 better than Adar 2, which is
I like
unfortunate.
Adar 1 better than Adar 2. I felt like, now I understand why Adar 1 was like, no, peace out.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this.
Kill me now.
I'm looking at other opportunities for acting.
Yeah.
Especially how he goes down. Anyways, yeah. And all of this that we just told you about, and none of us really mentioned the Rune storyline and the Harfoots and the Stoops. That's literally 1 out of 10 stuff here that really has no point, that is just dumb as fuck. Then bring in Tom Bombadil and completely misunderstanding Tom's character. This is not Tom Bombadil from the books. It's not Tom Bombadil, the idea of him. This is their version of Tom Bombadil that's mimicking other media. And what's so annoying about it is I'm so tired of them plagiarizing motherfucking Peter Jackson's trilogy, It happens so often. I've watched other reviewers. Watch Johnny Law. He has some really great videos on Rings of Power, because he'll show side-by-side of straight up filming it exactly the same, mimicking the same lines.
Of course.
With no talent, no artistry, no creativity. It's insulting. And, and then they're like, oh, Peter Jackson's, don't worry about it. But then you're borrowing everything from Peter Jackson. And what you're making here is worse. So it's a travesty. And I'll say this to kind of wrap up before I go into these really problematic issues. We'll give it a score here. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a breakdown of the stuff that I had the most problem with. But I feel like Season 2, it might be more watchable or better paced. Do you remember in Season 1, nothing fucking happened forever. It's just wasting fucking time. Bronwyn and the Arondir, it was just so boring. And the fucking Harfoots, which I could not stand, were way more prevalent. So while it's Season 2 might be more watchable and better paced, the fucking dialogue continues to deteriorate. I might actually think the dialogue is worse in Season 2 than it was in Season 1. And more so, characters are straight assassinated. Their characterization, their motivations, characters are done dirty. And so many dumb moments in Season 2. Especially the writers or the showrunners are like, we always knew that, this was going to end with the city siege, right? And to do that, and the battle tactics are so fucking stupid. The battle itself has so many issues. It's as if a child wrote it, or somebody who has never even watched a movie never even watched Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy, even though we know you did because you're literally aping every scene from it. And they do it so much worse. I think it brings it back down to where season 1 was. So let's go ahead and give ratings to season 2 overall.
This is fucking 2.
Yep.
It's a fucking 2.
It's a fucking 2. I gave season 1 a 2 out of 10, and you gave season 2 a 2 out of 10.
We probably spent less than 5 minutes on the good stuff, and like 2 hours or something for the bad stuff
combined.
Like everything fucking sucks about this. Like you said, the whole Nori stuff. I just dread watching. I dread it.
Yeah.
I'm like, please don't let this go on. Like, I make it stop. In Gandalf, that kind of makes sense. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're like, oh, we'll just do it.
I don't know about that, so I looked that up while Alex was talking here. The person who didn't know who it was, where did you say you found that?
Nerd of the Rings did a...
Nerd of the Rings. I'll look it up. But Rings of Power star Daniel Wayman made this. This is what you picked up. Didn't know the mysterious stranger's identity. I absolutely had no idea who the stranger was in season 1. But I can't find anything that says that the showrunners didn't know. Because in his quotes for him not knowing, it seems as if he knew that the showrunners knew who his character was but wouldn't tell him. So, Nerd of the Rings?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that whole stuff that's going on over there, I am disconnected with. I fucking hate it. It's so stupid. A lot of the cool moments are really ruined the more you look at it, the more you think about it. The characters just fucking suck. None of them I really liked except for Celebrimbor and Durin. But again, the writing ruined their character as well. So the show didn't really get a lot of this stuff right. I think it just made stuff worse and just messing with the lore. Yeah. So to me, none of this is canon.
Bro,
everything is just, this is, as soon as this is done, I want to burn it and never ever think about it.
Yeah, and you weren't, this is from a casual perspective, right? Mm-hmm. And you want to burn it and you want to forget about it.
Yes.
Imagine, Lord of the Rings purists or people who it's like, this is my Star Wars or this is my Harry Potter. Imagine this is your Harry Potter and this is what they did with it. Like, which might happen, Joe. You know that upcoming HBO series.
I just don't know who
Harry
would be
Potter.
like, oh, Galadriel's so fucking badass. She's the best.
I think that was one of the biggest mistakes is characterizing Galadriel as a 17-year-old, like Alex says. Yeah. Or maybe it was just a bad idea to go with the elves' perspective because the elves, their personalities are much different, They're basically, they had to make elves humans, right? Maybe we should have been with the Númenóreans and their perspective, and yes, still seeing Elrond and Galadriel and getting their bits, but expand the humans because the humans are all over the place in this story.
Even when we do see that, though, I don't want it.
No, it's even worse.
I forgot about that.
The Númenóreans are done even as dirty as the elves are done. I think the Númenóreans are done even worse.
Yes, but I totally forgot. Like, even if you go to Theo's side, I hated that.
Yeah,
like everything over there, I fucking hate it. And so I'm like,
that shit's a 1 out of 10.
Yeah,
right
this
there.
is just bad.
My turn. Yeah, I think 2 sounds about right. I'm just not one of. There are people that love and relish every opportunity to spend time in the worlds that they like. Right. Yes. I'm not of that mindset. This isn't from the same creators. This is not made for the sake of art. This is not made out of love. This is made because Amazon wanted to make something for the streaming service. They found some 2 dudes that knew J.J. Abrams, and they're like, all right, we'll make the show and we'll make it for modern audiences. And like, to me, that I'm not going to respect them for showing off Middle Earth to me because it doesn't in any way feel like Middle Earth. It didn't feel, again, big and grand, a good versus evil tale. And it just, they didn't have any of the care for the characters that, I mean, I get why they wanted to focus on the elves. Galadriel's alive. Elrond's alive. None of these other characters should really be alive at this time. And Sauron, like, those are the 3 that you got. And so, you can't just focus on them because they need to bankability. Because again, this is not about art. This is about money. The only reason the Harfoots were included in the show is because when people think Lord of the Rings, they think that hobbits have to be into it. The only reason that Gandalf is this mystery box for 2 straight years is we got to have him in there for some reason. And it's like, but they're not there. None of this ever exists. And so you're just making shit up, not for art. You're making it up for money. And it reeks of it to me. Yeah. And if you can watch it and it doesn't reek, awesome. Congratulations. You'll have tons of stuff to watch because that's all we're getting nowadays. And when you watch this show and you praise this show, you are telling Amazon, Warner Brothers, Netflix, Paramount, that they can make low-effort shit out of the stuff that we grew up with and that we love, and that you will just consume it forever. And I'm not one of those people. I'd rather sit at home and I would rather read than watch any of this shit. I don't mean that. Like, I love reading, so it's like I'd rather just be at home reading. Than
more people should do.
Yeah, and so it's like this has no value to me, and I don't. And, honestly, I don't even know why I'm giving it 2 points because, it's like I agree with you that it's bad. It's bad in every way, and it feels like a massive failure. But I feel like its failure is greater than the sum of its parts. I almost feel like giving this a 1.
Let's go.
Because like it does. It's gonna be tough. Like go back and watch any of the Peter Jackson the original trilogy, and you're gonna be like, wait a minute, who is this character that is in no way related to this? It's like, all of these problems are because Galadriel's an idiot and fell in love with the Lieutenant of the Devil. Yeah, screw it. Why not? It's let's go 1 out of 10.
Yeah. Like I said, everything that we spoke about today, I'm at a 2. And I think I am also going down 1 out of 10 because I feel like, you remember when we were doing Star Trek Picard and we were like, wow, this is so bad. None of this has to do with any of the excellent storytelling and writing and care and love that there was in The Next Generation and other Star Trek series.
And this was my first time watching Star Trek, like complete season. And this is what you brought me into. I was like, no, this is what you like.
No,
it is his fault.
I will nullify you, Joe. I made Joe watch some of good episodes of Voyager
not a full
before
season.
this.
Not a full season.
That's your thing, Joe. It's impossible to make you watch a full season unless we're doing it for work.
Which I did, and this was my introduction to Star Trek was Picard.
Well, that's a fucking shame because that season
I knew
1 and
that
2
was trash.
was so bad, and so we ended up giving that a fucking 0 out of 10, like non-functional 1 out of 10. I'm lowering to a 1 out of 10 because. Like we said at the beginning, and now this is slop, a corporate product with no love, no passion, done by amateurs. And I'm about to explain some of the breakdowns in that nobody could defend. Even if you like the show, you have to be like, I don't know.
Oh, we're going to defend it.
I would love
try
for them
my
to.
best.
I would love for them to try to defend it because you would be an idiot. You would look really bad. So 1 out of 10. And the worst season, because I do think that now that they've heard all the feedback, now the show hasn't been greenlit yet for season 3, but everybody says it's happening. Even Amazon. There's just recently I read from one of the producers like, oh yeah, announcement incoming. I think it's this month that they're going to announce that season 3 is going.
Do you think they're going to do 3 and 4 at the same time?
No. Well, I don't know about that. In addition, what is this? So this story's going around that they fired all the writers.
They're swapping some of them out.
Okay. It's not technically true, but it's somewhat true. They're keeping one of the writers, I think it's Justin Doble. They're keeping him, and almost every single other writer that wrote episodes in season 2 and season 1 have left. They're leaving. They're just not rehiring them. They're just not rehiring them.
No, the writers wanted full poppy, nobody penetration, and they wouldn't let them have it. So they're like, I'm leaving.
So does this bode well for season 3? Or the showrunners, they're not going anywhere. They still have complete control. Are they open enough to know that the people who have hate watched it or have criticisms. Why do you keep watching it? Well, because we love Tolkien. You know, you would keep watching the worst of something because you want to know what they're doing to the franchise. Would they listen to the feedback, or would they dismiss everybody as, you know, bigots and trolls and, you know, just doing it for clicks and money and stuff like that?
I would feel like they have a vision. It's their vision.
Yeah.
It's not very good.
That's Peter Jackson's vision.
But yeah, they're gonna borrow it, butcher it, and they're gonna just continue in their path.
Yeah, and our hope is that we're gonna watch it anyway because we're reviewers and we're gonna review it on something to let you guys know. And this has been fun, talking about it and reading.
I'm glad
comments.
you enjoy this.
I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
It is fucking really bad fan fiction. It was quite an experience, and it's going to continue. So, I hope it can only get good. Now, Halo, when they went from season 1 to season 2, they were like, all right, we'll listen to a little bit of the feedback, right? But they didn't do enough. They're canceled, and I canceled my Paramount Plus. There's no what shows are on Paramount Plus.
Well,
There's no reason to have Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
But for Amazon, they don't give a fuck. They make so much money, and they say as long as the numbers are still there. You know, they said, oh, well, this is 40,000. Yeah. As long as the numbers are still there, we're doing it. But here's the thing. They don't need it to be the #1 show. Top 5 is what they need.
The number is 100. The numbers are still
They're
there.
just selling the subscriptions.
Yeah, I mean, if I were the showrunners, I'd be pushing for season 3 and 4 to be made at the same time, because every season that this goes on, you're going to lose viewers because it's going to be harder to get in. And so
it says Amazon studio boss Jennifer Salke says there's no debate about whether or not The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power will continue. Over 70 million people at this point have engaged since season 2 launched. What does that mean? I don't know. Those numbers could be engaged. They engaged.
They turned it on and turned it off.
Right. That is an engagement.
Yeah.
Notice the wording she uses. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the long-term trajectory, which is how this company looks at an asset like that.
There's not an asset.
Is she not telling you right there that this is a long-term investment in that franchise? There's well over 100 million viewers watching and engaging with the show. So I feel really good. I think we all do. We'll continue to make the show as long as we see global customers loving it and watching it to the point where it is a business. Obviously, we need a large amount of people showing up, and there are a large amount of people. So does that not prove that it is a corporate product and there's just no love in it? And so as long, but they could keep cranking it out. I think Amazon has enough money, even if season 4 and 5 are dropping the fuck off, they'll just finish it.
Yeah.
Because it's about the Amazon Prime subscription.
And it being a corporate product doesn't immediately doom it. And like it would doom every other thing. So like the Dune movies were corporate products that HBO demanded to make money on, but you had someone in charge who was passionate and respected the source material, and this just doesn't have that, right? This just doesn't have one or two people at the helm going, absolutely not, we cannot have this in there because it doesn't make any goddamn sense. And they just don't have... I mean, I've seen people justify it. There's one or two people that call themselves like Tolkien professors that are like, this is great. I totally love how it's crazy, man. Like some of the people, because they're
cognitive dissonance.
Well, they want to be positive about everything because they, you know, and it's like, okay, fine, but that's the world that you are voting with your dollars. You are telling Amazon, like I said before, you're telling all these companies that they can make garbage and you will consume it because you're just going to be positive about everything. Congratulations. You're going to be eating garbage for the rest of your life.
Wasn't it some of the comments that you were reading off? It's like, oh, I was shaking. It's like, oh, I
got
wept.
chills. I was
chills.
weeping. Like people, yeah, I still think that those are paid bots.
Yeah, those are paid bots. All right, so I'm going to go into a breakdown now and talk about some of the more egregious things that happened during the season that, to me, have no explanation. They're just unforgivable or filmed very poorly or shown as a shortcut and no skill. I have never seen a show do what they did to Arendir before. Never. I've never seen that before. A big-ass show like this do something like that, where Arendir dies and then comes back as if nothing even happened. There's not even a single mention of what happened.
It happened with Gandalf.
It's not addressed. there's not a single bandage on him. You look at his armor's fine. I tried to color correct his armor. I guess there might be a bit of a stab wound on some side, but there's nothing. And why is a random soldier like Arendir up standing alongside all of the leaders of the elves? It doesn't make any fucking sense, other than the writers wrote it that way. The show it's in the script. I've never seen that.
He could have killed a Dar, which kept them from getting stabbed, and they probably would have gotten him without a Dar.
Yeah, there's probably just a cutout scene, but that's not the kind of scene that you can cut because
something had to have happened here. It feels like this guy's story was done dirty.
It was.
No, I mean, it's almost as if Bronwyn was going to have a much bigger role, and when she quit...
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah, and when she quit, it fucked Arendir's storyline, and they were like, all right, bro, we're just going to have you do this.
Which is kind of
it makes no sense.
It's kind of a shame because that actor is one of the only elf-like elves in the entire show.
He acts like an elf.
He feels like... I don't know how to describe, like ethereal, right? Like he feels like an elf,
sort of stoic,
and then everyone
wise.
else, and everyone else is just like Galadriel is an elf who's
acting human,
is a high school girl.
Yeah. All right. Next is the dwarves not sending their army for no reason. The dwarves are directly responsible for the destruction of Eregion. Like, why did they not send the army?
I thought...
Or are they implying that they did send the army?
No.
That's why they showed up when they showed up.
Because the guy leading the army was there with the Balrog.
What?
The guy leading the army is the guy...
He turned around.
Yeah, that big nose dude.
Yeah, the
it's
miner.
not him.
He's head of mining things. And they're like, Durin! He's like, no, it's me!
Proof. I thought that was somebody else, but you're absolutely right. So... Again,
I thought it was to
nobody
hold
is
off
paying
the
attention.
Balrog.
Right, that's what I thought.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, they're going to
the
do something with the Balrog, which they needed to do. We need to still talk about why is no one discussing the Balrog?
Because it's a cool scene. And the rule of cool.
At the end, when they're talking to each other, Disa and Durin, and that guy shows up, and they're like, hey, your brother's doing this and that, and they're acting like everything. No, we got these other things to deal with. We need to speak about the Balrog that literally can destroy all of Khazad-dûm.
Probably more powerful than Sauron at this point.
And
the
then
Númenóreans, there's only
Sauron.
30 of them. So, like, this Balrog is the most powerful thing in Middle-earth.
Do you think they'll address it in season 3? Or no, he just went back to sleep. Or guess Durin the Elder beat the fuck out of the Balrog.
He's still fighting, remember? He's still down there fighting, is what he said.
He fell real far.
Thousands of years.
Yeah. Well, the Durins aren't supposed to be alive at the same time. I guess they wanted to change that.
Nobody, no human character here is supposed to be alive.
No, but like the Durins are supposed to be like the Durin,
I know.
the third and the fourth are supposed to be the same guy. He gets resurrected and like over. It's supposed to be the 6 times, I think. And so
In spirit.
and then they go
really.
Yeah, then they go back to found Moria, and it's like, why would they do that, knowing that it's there?
Okay, so those I want y'all to explain those to me. That Arendir, the dwarves not sending their army, the Balrog never spoke about again. It shouldn't be awake because when it awakens, it destroys everything. All right, and then he just forgets and he goes to sleep, I guess. Okay, now the whole Glug turn, it broke the whole show to set up. Simply to set up his turn, his character turn, to make that more believable. Because in the after shows, that's what the showrunners are doing. Well, we had to characterize him with the he cares about his family, and it makes sense later because of what he does later. Oh, wait till what he does later, and it turns out, what does he do later? He backstabs Adar.
He commits his family to a lifetime of servitude and slavery.
Sauron promises better health care with his family because he loves his family. And he's
Are
like,
you the one they call Sauron? Are you the one that we all stabbed and killed because you were crazy and trying to enslave us? And you're the one that we're all fighting against? He goes, I have many names. What is yours? Uruk. And that was enough, I guess, to convince Glug that he's better. He's going to be better for them than Adar, who was attacking the elves' city, which is what orcs do
which Glug
now and then.
deserves
Not
an
these
Oscar.
orcs.
And these orcs.
These are sympathetic orcs because
But
all bad
at no
guys.
point was any other orc given any characterization that they were anything other than brutal evil. One wanted to fucking murder a horse, and they'd cut it to pieces, and taunting horses. Like
For his
they're
family.
all bad. They're all bad. And they ruined that so that they can have this turn make sense. But the fucking turn doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
So he doesn't want to serve Sauron, right? And I guess because Adar was becoming too much like Sauron, he decides to join Sauron.
Yes, but not by name because they're not allowed to use his
All
name.
right. Okay, so then another thing here. Like, this show completely falls apart.
Yes.
I rewatched. It says the
Oh,
Blue
no.
Mountain Dwarf Lords. The Blue Mountain Dwarf Lords paid tribute and want to collect. That's the fucking line. They paid tribute and they want to collect. That's not how tribute works.
It's loan.
Who wrote this? Do you know what tribute is? So-
It's a loan.
They paid tribute.
Here you
And
go.
now they're here to collect.
8%.
What do you mean they're here to
8%
collect?
interest.
I am giving you gold. I am paying tribute to you. I am giving you a gift.
I thought this was a donation.
I
Well,
need that
that's
back.
you thought wrong.
For what reason? I don't understand. They just need to create conflict with the Mountain Dwarf. It would make more sense if the rings were given to the Dwarven Lords. It's as if they forgot that when they had the scene and it was Durin and he's like, these rings will help the dwarves and everything, and they had a bunch of dwarves there. Those weren't the lords. Those were like the messengers or whatever. Take this message back to them. Give me a bunch of money. I'll give you the rings or something, right? And, I guess maybe that's it because I fixed it for them. Maybe they already paid the money and they never got the rings, and so that's why they're asking to collect.
Yeah, they're collect.
But you see, the lines don't make sense when you say pay tribute and they're here to collect. Then it makes me think, they were already giving money, and
The flow doesn't make sense either because
no, that's what it is. I just fixed it right there.
Well, it's not fixed because the reason that Durin says I want 50% is these rings will quadruple the amount of gold. So why would you prepay? He's like, I want 50% of the increased. Like not, I don't care about half of what you're mining now because what you're mining now isn't significant.
But I think they're implying that they're here to collect the rings.
Yeah, that's
they
what
just needed to say collect the rings. And
But it didn't sound like it was medieval.
But that is a problem in itself because all of the dwarves know that the rings, the second you put them on, you turn evil.
Yeah.
They will never allow those rings to go out, and I guess that's going to be the drama in season 3.
His brother's taking power.
But it is so stupid.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so stupid when that happens. Because everybody in Khazad-dûm realizes what Sauron is trying to do with these rings.
And you can't possibly give those people their gold back because that would
And then destroy the rings, hide the rings, move the rings.
Can't
They're
be
just going to
destroyed.
be there, and they're going to give the rings away.
can't be
I
destroyed,
know
Joe.
they're gonna fix it.
The brother is going to steal the rings and give it to. That's how I got it.
No,
The brother's going to steal the rings, give it all to the dwarven lords because they need something to push the plot forward.
Yeah, we do, and we need to stick to the theme. What is the theme? Galadriel.
Glad Joe's here.
She's gonna take the
Galadriel
rings,
fucked
and
it
then
up.
she's gonna fuck it up again.
Yeah.
Galadriel
Or
fucks-
the Balrog
That's
gives the
another
rings
thing
out.
is Galadriel never learns a lesson. She never gets humbled. You think it's going to happen here. There's so many opportunities for it to happen. It never happens. And she's just like a bitch the whole fucking time. And the shit that she does, it just doesn't make sense. And it's awful. And I thought they were going to go the right direction with her. They just kept dragging it out. I guess they're saving that for season 3, 4, 5 to give her the actual
Don't you
arc
put that
she
curse on
needs.
us?
And then at the end, when the elves are like, sword or the shield, and then there's no like speech. Everybody just goes, yeah, when he raises the sword. The elves down here can't hear anything because they're like lightly talking to each other. What do you think, Galadriel? It's like, oh, Arondir, what do you think? Who are you again? They're just talking. And then at the end, he raises his sword, and out of nowhere, all the other elves are like, yeah! It's like, bro, do you know what just happened? Like, all your family's fucking dead. Your entire city is destroyed in ashes.
We must go to war.
And you went from 37 elves to 7 elves, and now he raises the sword and everybody screams their head off. Even children are screaming their heads off. It's so dumb. He couldn't even write a good speech that he gives to all of the elves in New Rivendell. Anyways, there's no heart to it. There's no talent to it. Like I said before, it's a corporate product and a show with... They thought there's a built-in fan base. We can capitalize off of this. And we don't need to put in the talent, the showrunners who know what they're doing, and creatives that will work.
That's how you get floppy rubber swords, and you get bad-looking armor, and you get, like, the care.
The fucking saggy titty armor that the Numenorians have. And this mob mentality that the Numenorians are. I fucking hate it. It's weird fan fiction. And it's not a good prequel to Lord of the Rings. So it fails in its whole purpose. Plot, dialogue, all awful. All awful. And one final nail in the coffin, or I'll let you guys, if you have anything else to say. I want to show this picture because I found this picture. And it's a picture of Eregion, the city. Eregion is not actually the name of the city, but they don't have the rights to the actual name of the city. But they show this. They say Eregion. They show the city. That shot is impressive.
Which season, though?
But I don't know. Maybe season 1. It may be season 2. I have the image. Why?
Because in one season there's walls, and in one season there are no walls. Because
you've seen the same thing I've seen. No one on the show paid attention to their own city's layout. There were no walls.
They didn't have a plan.
There's no walls right there. Why attack the part that has walls? You dam the river, then go in right through there. Going right through there. There's no walls right here. You've already attacked the city. It has to have been season 1. If this shit is in season 2, I don't know.
They had to change the position of the city. They had to change the layout. They literally changed the layout of the map.
And there's 2 rivers instead of 1. You'd have to dam one, and then you'd have to do something with the other one.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a general lack of planning.
All I have.
Oh, there's so many great scenes that I want to talk about. Remember when the Ent goes down to the guy who's wearing armor made out of wood, and he's like, "Have you ever taken an axe ever to a tree? Because if you have, it'll totally kill you."
There's like a face of a tree.
And it's just like, never. And it's like,
yes,
wait.
I have.
Wait a minute.
Check out this metal bow and metal arrows, all metal.
Yeah, never done that before. That was super fun. I remember when Rian got that amazing scene where not a single elf at that nighttime fight was getting shot with arrows, and all of a sudden she got shot with like 47 arrows, but still stands up to have her boss moment, and then explodes the only thing that's explodable on the whole battlefield. It's like, what the fuck is happening here?
And if this interview that you said, what did you say from Nerd of the Rings?
You just pull up the video and look at the comments. Like, it's wild. Some of the people that people are quoting.
Okay, so what video is it most recently, or what's it called?
It's called J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay interview with.
It's an interview.
It's an interview. Yeah.
Okay, and they say it in that. My God, if that's true, I want to watch this afterwards.
These guys just don't have a plan, and so they constantly. There's nothing wrong with the rule of cool. Like, I've played D&D for almost 30 years. The rule of cool is really important. The thing with the rule of cool, though, is you can do things that are cool that don't quite make perfect sense. But
the fact that they didn't know who the stranger was from the beginning makes so much sense, and why it felt so off. You're right.
Yeah. And so it's like everything here is them just trying to go, oh, it's cool. This is cool. Just keep it anyway. Like, we got to do it this way. There's not enough foundational work laid down here where I buy any of these moments.
Exactly.
And so, like, her in the arrow scene, it's like, this is just dumb. I don't care. Like, I know that you are treating it like that's your D&D character doing this heroic moment.
And now to see these behind-the-scene decisions, it is so frustrating. You could have literally made him a blue wizard and made the show so much more interesting, where the one good thing from the show, turn the Rune storyline automatically into worthwhile, if you do better on it in future seasons as a backstory for two characters that were in the lore that are powerful, and we never know what they did. It could have been both blue wizards, but they went for the lowest common denominator. They went for corporate bullshit, checking boxes, nostalgia berries, and they said, yep. We didn't know who the stranger was till after season 1, and somewhere in that decision, we decided to make him Gandalf.
Well, they made it the corporate decision because that is the recognizable name and character. It sells more merch. More people will watch it knowing it's Gandalf, and that's what's
it's not Gandalf for me. Knowing this, it's the Blue Wizard. Both of those are Blue Wizards. The not Sour Man and not
Gondor has
Grand
no Gandalf.
Elf. None of those are that, and which is funny that they would react such a way when people are like, "Is this Saruman?" Remember when I was reading their interview, and that would be really, really improbable for that to be Sauron. Saruman. Joe, your Sour Man has ruined me so much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Pronunciation. I'm already really bad with pronunciation, but. They're like, that's impossible. Like, and they're saying, no, that can't be him. As if that's the one place they want to make the course correction. Because my old friend, they wrote him to be Sour Man. And then when they realize, all right, we're doing this shit too much, let's not make him because it doesn't make sense. And we can't write it in a way that makes sense.
Why would you make him look...
Unless they are doing this thing where it's like, it's improbable. And then season 3, he's Sour Man.
You made him look... pretty close.
Why? I love that. I was like,
Why?
why Joe say he looks like he's on crack? I rewatched
did you
it.
see
His
his
eyeballs are coming out.
Trust me. It's like, fuck no, I don't trust you.
My old friend. And that's exactly how Sour Man talks to Gandalf.
I just hope that all of the characters get the Hodor treatment, where it's the whole. There was a great picture someone said where it's Gandalf helping out some dudes in Gondor, and it's like you're becoming a bit of a Mithrandir, and it's like, and he's like, oh, I like that. That's a great name for me.
Mithrandir.
Yeah, perfect.
Just everything runs into each other. Somebody did that for
Sour Man.
Sour,
Here, try this lemon.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty sour.
Oh,
man.
that's sour, man.
Yeah, that was from our comments. That guy's a genius.
Yes, that was gold right there.
All right. Well, I love talking about this fucking piece of shit. The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, which they managed to say the name of the series, both names of the series. There's they must have had some challenge on set. There's no way that you could say the Lord of the Rings of Power in the actual script.
You can say meow 20 times.
And they fucking did it. But they didn't say Amazons. At one point, they were like, these are the Rings of Power. And then the Rings of Power. And then later on, it's like, you are the Lord of the Rings. You will be known as the Lord of the Rings. Oh, my God. Woo!
Bad.
A colossal disaster, and I cannot take my eyes off it.
There's going to be more.
I mean, so next season, it just becomes really difficult because now we truly don't have anyone or storylines to root for.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, there's no way it can get any worse than this. That's why I'm like, 1 out of 10, there's no way it can get worse than this. You fired all the writers. You hear all the internet feedback. I know you hear it because they're hearing it from even Nerd of the Rings. He's making faces when they start talking, and this is one that's positive.
He's very positive.
Not very, he's trying to walk the line.
Keep
because
access.
He knows how bad it is, and it's good that he kept access because without that, we wouldn't have had this fucking admission that we know it. He managed. He's the Trojan horse. We need people like that, and that's that's why when I was doing interviews. People were like, oh, yeah, until people figured out, well, this guy's going to tell like it is, so I'm not even going to talk to him in the first place. Yeah.
So there is hope, right? So, and I do think that this is an interesting time in the Second Age. The Sauron and the War of the Elves is interesting. They can do interesting things with it. If they hire new writers.
If we do more battles, which is what's coming.
To be fair, and I mean that truthfully, to be fair, this is an interesting time that we're coming up. The next 2 seasons could be bangers because we do have the war, and then we do have the Numenorians capturing Sauron, and things could get interesting.
And the Numenorians declaring war on fucking heaven itself.
That's like season 5, if we get there.
Yeah, that's
speed it up.
towards the end. Well,
Yeah.
I still think that's season
4?
Four.
And then we get
season
to
4. And then
okay.
season
The
5
Last
is the
Alliance.
lead into the
La-
Last Alliance.
That could happen. So like there is exciting things coming, more exciting than now.
Yeah.
If they pull the foot off the gas from the Harfoot stuff, like
Yes.
really do that, and if some of the annoying,
They have an opportunity.
this is a good opportunity.
Poppy rounds that corner, or Nori rounds that corner.
Yeah. So it could be better.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we have a hope that season 3 can be a 3 out of 10. All right. And for them, that's real good. You know what I mean? It's like good for you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to give you a little piece of candy, but it's going to be an unwrapped candy that fell on the floor a long time ago, has been sitting there for a few months.
What kind of candy though?
Black licorice.
Oh,
Like licorice, yeah.
They couldn't make it worse. Next, they're going to have more storylines because it's going to be Nori and Grandolph. Ship it.
Shipping.
Well,
So you were right earlier, Joe, and you said, like, it's bad because Alex said this as well. It's like, who's left is people that are ruined. And the other ones that aren't ruined are about to be ruined with the whole brother and the Durin and the Disa and the dwarves and the Balrog that everybody's ignoring. That is going to be ruined because they already set it up that you're about to make the stupidest decision and give the rings to everybody and put the ring on yourself, even though you saw what it did. Mm-hmm. And they're going to come up with the most contrived reason to do it. Oh, your brother's trying to take power. You have to put the ring on in order to, hold your fort together, hold your house together.
do you think there's going to be love triangles next season? Because I
Yes.
think we're getting 2, minimum 2.
And the Estrid thing that they set up with the whole husband, walking over and saying and doing
That's
nothing.
another thing. Like, what the fuck was that?
I have no idea. I still to this day think that it was all like a weird,
It's like,
menage a
oh,
trois
hey, what's
situation.
going
Yeah,
on,
your
guys?
husband can come too. No low man.
He's got
may be allowed.
to watch.
Yeah.
It's, ugh.
It's weird.
But then there's all the Farazana and Muriel could get married, and then Elendil
Yeah,
loves
that's
her.
what they're gonna do.
That's another
Farazan
one.
has to marry Mariel, or what's her name?
Muriel.
Muriel.
So I mean, it's what it is in the story, but I don't think that matters to them at all. I just think that
Because right now he does. He doesn't have the claim to the throne.
he does. He is the king of all Numenor.
Yeah, because of the fucking eagle.
Well, because he's a part of the royal family anyway. They're cousins, so it's not like he's not like some random dude. But like,
Yeah.
she has like.
I'm just trying to see how he has legitimacy to that. But I guess it's because
eldest male heir type thing.
right,
Yeah.
and also the Numenorians are a mob and they're idiots.
Yeah, they're idiots.
and he had a piece of paper.
And he did have a
wrote
piece of
it
That
paper.
was a magical piece
Piece
of paper.
So if she's forced to marry him, and then Elendil gets weird, and that sets up like the whole civil war. Well, they're not even supposed to be civil war. Like
They finally said his son's name, which I think they said it maybe one other time, that he's on the other side of the island, and that's where he pieces out to. And so he's going to have his little forces, and like a little civil war type of thing, the faithful versus the Farazan's forces. And the faithful will move on, and that's the humans we know, Gondor and all these other things, versus Farazan's faction, which will eventually declare war on heaven and get fucked. Because you don't declare war on God in heaven. Because that
Unless
ain't
you're
going to work
playing
out
Elden
for
Ring.
you. Unless you're playing Elden Ring.
I'm Team Wave. Like,
And we've seen what happens when OJ declares
Oh,
war on
man.
heaven.
yeah, I mean,
Alex, maybe, but Joe, nah. All right, well, I think we'll end it on that. Thank you, guys. We won't have to worry about this for another 2 years, but I'm telling you, man, I'm counting the days. I'm actually excited for the fucking season 3 because it is a fucking event for me. I'm chewing my popcorn because look, Joe, I'm not looking at it like, oh man, this is gonna be great, and then getting disappointed. I'm like, this is gonna be shit.
Yes.
And I'm so curious how shit it is. Oh, and you did it shit, and you did it even more shit than I thought you would, man. This is great. That's entertainment, man. Are you not entertained? I'm entertained.
yeah, but now you're gonna watch the charge of the Rohirrim, and then when he's going death, and you're gonna be like, but their orcs have families, they have wives and children.
I
It's
do
brilliant.
think,
Yeah.
I do think this does do damage.
It does. It
really
does
do.
actual
really does.
damage.
And people are like, no, that's separate from the thing, and your
Yeah,
things
but-
will always be there. And I was like, no, I get it. But
Yeah,
if
you
anything
watch-
does damage, it's this.
Exactly. You watch the fucking Lord of the Rings again, you see Galadriel, you're like, oh, you fucking bitch.
I hate you.
I hate you. You caused all this. That's not what I want to be thinking about when I'm watching these amazing movies.
I know. I know.
That's the sad part.
I know. But to be fair, it has rekindled my love of this.
Yeah.
Going back and reading the books, going back and watching the movies. Now, Games Workshop is there's a new movie coming out towards the end of the year. Granted, it's an anime movie. It's on it's on like 2 pages in one book, and they expand on something in a way that wasn't really there. But it could be an interesting story. And then there's a new miniatures box set for that coming from Games Workshop. And I'm going through all of the lore and stuff and the different factions in the tabletop, and I want to play. So I want to engage with the franchise, the good stuff of the franchise, and sort of make fun and shun this really bad fan fiction. And quite possibly the biggest TV show disaster of all time. That's what this is. Never has a show been this expensive. Never has a show had to live up to something so big as this lore. And never have they fucked it up so much so far.
I think Secret Wars is probably worse than this because it was one season and it cost $180.
Nobody gives a fuck about Secret Wars.
That's what I mean. It cost $180 million and no one gave a fuck about it.
No, this is far worse than Secret Wars. At least Secret Wars had somewhat of an all right start, and then it turned into absolute garbage. But nobody remembers it. It's not a lasting thing. People are gonna remember, Lord of the Rings, and I'm gonna be pissed when somebody comes up and says, "Hey, is that the Balrog, the one that got hit by Durin, and Durin took out that Balrog single-handedly?" I'm like, shut the fuck up. Or, is that Elrond? Yeah,
we got that. What was that? That at the very end, that crazy creature. From Marvel, from Secret War, right? Where she turned into everything.
Oh yeah,
it was bad. I'm not saying it was good. I'm saying it was bad.
She's out there.
Nobody remembers it.
Financially,
we had to think about it.
Exactly.
But financially, Secret War is going to lose way more money than Rings of Power.
I don't know, man. When you're spending $750,000, and then let's say they go out the rest of these seasons, are they adding to that amount?
No, I think it's a prepaid budget for everything, right? It was like
I don't know.
$250 million for like the licensing.
It's a tribute, Joe. They're gonna get their money back. It's fine.
Yeah,
they're paying tribute. Now they're come to collect. Anyway, it's come to collect the ring. They get it. But wow, what a colossal disaster!
Yes.
I think this is bigger disaster than Secret Wars. Secret Wars is up there, making top 5 easy. But I mean. All right, guys. Well, tell us what you thought in the comments
and
down
tell me
below.
why it was amazing for you.
No, there's nobody in our comments left that do that. Now, if Nerd of the Rings fans were watching our content, they could, come over here and give their, dissertations in the comments if they want. Be nice to them. But you'd have to address all the things that I pointed out because I would.
Some people just they don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah, they just want to consume.
If it plays on the screen and it works and there's flashy bits, then it's cool. It's close enough to them.
I wish I could live like that. Things would be easier. It would be so much easier.
Yeah. Well, All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys in 2 years for The Lord of the Rings of Power Season 3.
Then we're going to watch a Gollum movie.
Bye. Well, there is a movie at the end of the year, The War of the Rohirrim, I think. I forget the title. And then what is the one with Gollum? What's it called?
The Hunt.
That is
I
so
think it's
stupid.
The Hunt for something.
But actual good actors are showing up in it, and then one more with Gandalf in it as well. So I don't know.
The Hunt for Gollum.
I don't have hope in The Hunt for Gollum. The anime I think is going to be entertaining because I love Japanese animation. The third one, maybe that's going to be the banger. I do love the franchise, but I think it's done. You would have to. How do we have good Tolkien stuff, Alex? Age 1, go to Age 1. Does Amazon own the rights now? So they spent $250, $250 million.
I was like, damn, I could have bought that. I own that.
Can they go and do? No, I guess they can't do the season Age 1. They would have to spend another $250 million to get that.
You got that.
And then you don't get that because you proved that you weren't good enough for age too.
Yeah, there's tons of really cool stories and werewolves and
Yeah, I think we
Balrog
could
armies
do,
and
what's his name?
dragons. Gondolin?
No, Galadriel's. You know, she got so pissed that Sauron killed him. Galadriel's brother.
Fingorn?
Finn. Yeah, it's something with the F. We could do something with him. You can even do the Silmarillion, the grandfather of
there's
Celebrimbor.
tons of little stuff.
There's
in there.
really cool
plenty of
stuff
stuff you
that
could
could
butcher.
happen in the future.
I mean, there's a dude that just straight up 1v1s Morgoth, and they has a duel, and that's pretty sweet. Ecthelion kills like multiple Balrogs, and then there's Fingolfin jumps and rings of fire a Balrog in the chest with a giant sword. Like the
There's
original
cool shit.
elves were cool as fuck, and they
Yeah.
were way powerful. But we can't do any of that stuff because they don't have the rights.
But if we are, if we're thinking like, in 20, 30 years, like what could they do if they want to do good shit within this universe? Because Rings of the Power is staining it, and it will eat up, space. And, will we ever see good?
In 30 years,
Tolkien
I'll be
content
82. I ain't
again?
got time for that.
We'll
we
have
need,
to see.
yeah, we need the country of New Zealand to be like, we're gonna do it with Weta and all of these people who actually fucking care. We'll film it here, and we promise not to.
And they redo that time period. But see, I don't think they will. I think everybody now will stay away from it because Amazon.
Yeah.
It's a fucking shame.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. Put some comments down below, and we will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.